One. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm Christian.
I'm Ethan.
And today, we are starting a new podcast called The Browns Podcast. And basically, we're just going to talk about the Browns. It's off-season time. It's draft time. So we're just going to talk about who we should target and how this team can get better. So, first I want to talk about was, Ethan, who is your, number one free agent you think we need to go get?
If I would say Hopkins or Paris Campbell or someone like that. I think we need a stud wide receiver too next to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I feel like to get Watson to his old form, because he was a little rusty last year, but I mean, I understand that. That year, what was it, 2020? He threw 40 touchdowns. Here, let me look. But if you get him that other wide receiver, I feel like he can go back to that original form. And I mean, he was balling that. I think it was 2020. Let's see the 2020 stats. He threw for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions that was only 16 games at the time.
Yeah,
I feel like he would have thrown for 5,000 if there was 17 games in that season. Probably he would have thrown another 3 touchdowns. So I mean, I feel, and his receiving core let me think. It was Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, and Darren Fells. That was his receiving core. And he threw that many. So I feel Paris Campbell would be good because that opens up the top for those safeties to take him and hopefully leave DPJ, Njoku, or Cooper open. But I mean, but then you don't even have to worry about that. I feel like if you have Hopkins, because then that makes Amari Cooper wide receiver 2, and that's already the best wide receiver 2 in the league at that point.
Right.
And then you have the best wide receiver 3 with DPJ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like whichever one you do get would be good, but you just can't miss out on both, I feel like. And Paris Campbell said last week that he'd be willing to an Ohio return.
Right, yeah. Paris Campbell, Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, he's not talking about Cincy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's got to be talking about us.
I think, and 2 other big names that we need is on the other side of the ball. I think we need to look into getting Jesse Bates, and then maybe if not Jesse Bates, Jimmy Ward from the 49ers.
Well, actually, something I saw, Gardner Johnson from Philly, he's going to be leaving Philly. I mean, with the news breaking earlier that Darius Slay could even be out, I don't think he'll be returning. So I think I think Jesse Bates should probably be the number one person we need to get. But if you do miss out on Bates, I think Jimmy Ward or C.J. Gardner-Johnson will help your defense as much. You just got to go get that safety to replace John Johnson.
Yeah, even if we get Slay, I think we got the right things to possibly make a trade right now for Darius Slay.
Yeah,
I think a few draft picks and maybe a player.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work though with the corners. I mean, we'd probably give up Greg Newsome or someone. I feel like if we're ready to go get Slay, but I think they might not even. I mean, I could definitely see them attacking for Slay, but I don't think they'll even. I mean, they'll probably monitor it, but I mean, if they could go get Bates or Gardner Johnson, I think that. And then the news breaking yesterday that we can restructure Watson by $30 million, and he can't even say no. That's huge.
Yeah, that's really big. That's going to give us a lot more.
I think that's going to give us 2 big free agents.
Yeah,
because that's not even restructuring Cooper or Chubb or any of those guys. That's not even restructuring them. So you might be able to clear up $50 million by the time free agency starts on Monday.
Yeah, we're looking really good to get some big names here.
I'm looking at Hargraves and I'm looking at Bates. That's if you want a top 5 defense, I say go get Bates and Hargraves.
Yeah, I think
that gets your D line and that gets your safety that you need.
Yeah.
I also do think that a position that everyone's forgetting about we do need kind of is linebackers. I feel like those have been rough for the last few years, and they had an okay year last year, but now everyone's forgetting that we still have holes there. So I like Deion Jones to return. I think he played great. But I also like Bobby Wagner, as he wants to go to a contender. So I feel like if you get Bates and Hargraves, Wagner would come here for cheap.
Yeah, Deion Jones, he just stepped in week 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah, it might be even later. I think it was probably week 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I mean, he stepped in and he really help take control of that defense and help get them going again.
44 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 1 interception. Trying to see how many games that was. I think his first game was against Baltimore this year. Let's see something. No, I mean I don't think he'll even be asking for that much. He played 11 games, so that's actually not bad for 11 games considering he missed the first 6, and then he had to learn a whole new system too. So I say he would be good. Yeah, Deion Jones or Wagner is who I would want there. Or if maybe he's not asking for that much, like Tremaine Edmonds.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was a free.
But I feel like he might be asking for a payday.
Yeah, I could definitely see him going somewhere else. Wagner had 81 solo tackles, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions last year.
Yeah, he was first-team All-Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was at least.
Yeah, this was definitely one of his better seasons, despite not being in Seattle.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, he could for sure get a payday if he wants. I feel like, but he got released because he wants to go to a winner.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we get these right pieces, we could be a winner. And I think Lamar's out. I don't care that all these teams are saying they're not going to go after him. I think the second free agency starts on Monday. All these teams are going to be trying to talk to him. I mean, if it's only 2 first-rounders, we'd go 3 for Watson.
Yeah.
If it's only 2, and this dude's a former MVP, and let's see how old Lamar. I mean, I don't even think Lamar's that old.
No, he's in his.
Let's see.
Young, like mid-20s or something like that.
Let's see. Lamar Jackson age. He's only 26.
Yeah, and the fact that he's asking for. What he's asking for is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be out of there, which helps us. And then I also if we get Bates from Cincy, that's huge because that already ruins them. And I think T. Higgins might even be gone. I think if they get on draft night, I mean, who thought A.J. Brown was going to get traded on draft night? They got the right price for him, so they shipped him off to Philly. I could easily see like the Giants offering their pick to Cincy for T. Higgins.
Yeah, I definitely see Higgins being one of those rare like draft trades that happens.
So I could definitely if they're already Cincy's already gonna lose some guys on defense. If they lose Higgins and then Baltimore loses Lamar, I mean I'm not really worried about the Steelers. I mean they'll probably add a few pieces but it just depends how Kenny Pickett plays.
I mean, quite frankly, the Steelers are going to be the Steelers again.
Yeah,
they're going to end up coming short again. I have a feeling about it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is a team that could maybe get 2 wins over them, and not even have to worry about Pittsburgh going into Week 17 like we always do.
So the next thing that we're going to talk about is basically the guys who are leaving the Browns after this past season, who we have agreed that we don't want them back anymore. Some of them just like flat out sucked. The others,
the people I said: Ronnie Harrison, Greedy Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, and Kareem Hunt. I mean, I think you could all say goodbye to them because let's think about this. Ronnie could get replaced by one of the 3 safeties we said. Greedy already has his replacement with Newsome.
Yeah,
and Clowney. I mean, we might have to replace Clowney, but there is a lot of edge rushers in this year's draft and in free agency that you could easily go pick up someone that did equally as much as him. Kareem, I'm not worried about losing Kareem because we produce a lot of running backs, and Jerome Ford didn't even get a chance to prove himself. Dearness Johnson, people forget, is still on the roster, so you don't even have to worry about Kareem to me. I want to see what did Clowney produce last year.
The other thing about Greedy is that the whole what do we have 3 years or something like that?
3 to 4
years.
Just
couldn't stay on the field. He could not stay healthy. He was
not at all.
Shoulder injuries, ankle injuries, everything like that.
Clowney had a horrible year. He had 28 tackles and 2 sacks.
Yeah, that
could be easily replaced. Probably even better from just someone.
I mean, the guy's a former number 1 draft pick, and we brought him here to pretty much have a 1-2 punch with him and Garrett on both sides. And I don't know. That might have been like the biggest fail that we've had.
I'm not even gonna be upset about losing him because, as it says right here, I mean, he's never had a season with double-digit sacks.
Yeah.
The closest he's been is 9. So I'm not even concerned about losing him. So I think all 4 of those players can go. I mean, I don't think we need to even consider re-signing them because there's some definitely backup corners like a Cameron Sutton or an Emmanuel Mosley that you could offer just be that 3rd or 4th corner because one of our 3 corners are going to get hurt. They always seem to do. So you're probably going to have to sign like a Mosley or Cameron Sutton, maybe even like a James Bradbury if he's not asking for that much.
Yeah.
Probably not Bradbury, but just someone that could do that. One thing I want to talk about, do you think we need to pay money for a backup QB? Or do you think we can draft someone in the 7th and call it a day there?
I don't know if it's, risky to draft someone, but I think if I was the Browns, I might just play it safe and send a small, maybe little 1-year contract back to Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I just feel like he's gonna get a payday. Not payday, but I feel like a team like Arizona's gonna go get him to start for the first 7 games where Kyler's not playing.
Yeah,
because they know he can win a few games if they need him to. But I mean, I also like just for the backup Mariota. I feel like he could work out. PJ Walker, and I said Sam Darnold. Darnold's shown flashes. I mean, obviously, I feel like if you put him, let's say we got Hopkins. If you put Sam Darnold in an offense with Hopkins, Cooper, DPJ, Njoku, Chubb, I feel like he's got to produce and win you a few games if something happens to Watson.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Darnold is that he's never been around a good team.
No.
He's never been around an O-line that could keep him up.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had any good receivers to throw to. So I think he would be a lot more comfortable here. He's got the O-line. He's got some receivers he can throw to.
Yeah. I'm just seeing.
I mean, I would also even look at maybe bringing back Case Keenum. I mean, I know he had his one flashy game against the Broncos on Thursday night.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he can win you some games, and he's proven that for sure.
Yeah. Some news that actually just happened that I want to talk about. Adam Thielen is being released by the Vikings. Sorry, it's off topic, but this is breaking right here.
Yeah.
I feel like Thielen would be a good option because Stefanski was his OC in that. You remember when he had that one crazy year? He had like 9 straight games with over 100 yards and a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 2017 or something.
It might have even been sooner. Maybe
sooner,
like 18
something.
or 19. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like he would be a nice option to come here, and with Stefanski, I feel like he could maybe get back to where he was.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see his stats last year. Last year, he had 70 receptions, 716 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And I'm trying to see, did he play every game or not?
Yeah, he played every game. He played over 1,000 snaps last year, 70 receptions.
But the one thing that you do have to look at is his receiving core. He was around. That definitely took away from him.
Yeah.
So
obviously, Kirk Cousins is going to want to throw to Justin Jefferson more.
Justin Jefferson won Offensive Player of the Year. KJ Osborne had a really good year for them. I'm trying to see what his stats were like. In 2020, Osborne had 650 for 5 touchdowns and 60 receptions. So that definitely took away from Thielen's game. And then, obviously, everyone knows Justin Jefferson had a huge year. Jefferson had 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 128 catches. Like, it's going to be hard to produce behind that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to compete with the offensive player of the year, of course.
I mean, I think for honestly what Jefferson did, Thielen played well behind him.
Yeah, Thielen definitely did. Yeah, like we keep saying, it's hard to compete with a guy who is going to get thrown to.
Who's already probably a future Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Jefferson.
I mean, I feel like I don't even think you would have to pay him that much. I mean, I'd probably say give Thielen a 1 or 2 year deal. Probably,
yeah,
he would probably take a $5 million, maybe even cheaper.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a cut from what he was getting paid in Minnesota, but I think he would definitely take it to come play here.
Yeah, I think he would absolutely like that. Just because, I mean, his OC's here. I think Watson's a better quarterback than Kirk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only problem is he is 32. So I would feel like he's got to have that 1 or 2 year deal, nothing more.
Yeah, he's on that older end of wide receivers, and you want young guys at receiver.
Yeah.
You don't want guys who are old in their 30s.
I think, though, yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't expect to get paid a lot, I think 32. He'll be 33 by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
So 1 or 2 year, and then he could probably hang up the cleats after that. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's actually not a bad option for us if we miss out on Campbell or Hopkins. If you miss out on them, I feel like you probably could go get a guy like Alan Lazard or Robert Woods just to have 4 good wide receivers.
Yeah, that was actually one of the names that we had on our list was Alan Lazard.
He might get a payday, though, from Baltimore or the Chiefs.
Yeah. And we also said Kenny Galladay, who was cut from the Giants.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I hope if we did, he'd be able to produce a little more than he did in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they used him right, because he was a monster before he got that huge payday from them.
And then one of our other backups was Robert Woods, but the whole thing with Robert Woods is that he's been injured the last couple of years, and he hasn't...
Yeah. We almost actually got him, though, before he was traded to Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
We were like really close to acquiring him, I heard. It wasn't even for that much. So he had 53 catches for 527 yards and 2 touchdowns. So obviously not the greatest on the touchdowns. Did produce some yardage, which was good. But he only played actually he did play in all 17 games. But he only started in 15 of them.
Yeah.
So he might have been hurt for 2 of the other ones, and they'd take him back slow. So not bad. I'd probably say that's one of the options if you miss out on all 3 now.
Yeah. I mean, you have to get one. You have to get either Campbell or Hopkins.
Or you get Thielen and draft Josh Downs in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole other thing is that there's a whole draft of wide receivers out there.
Yeah. Part of me wishes we did have a first this year. I mean, obviously, I understand. I mean, we did get that extra 3rd round pick yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's the 3rd highest out of all those picks. So, I mean, maybe if you could send a package of let's say a Smith and Jigba or Jordan Addison falls to the late 20s. Yeah. I could see Barry moving up with a 2nd and 2/3. Because the 2nd round pick's it's the 9th pick in the 2nd round or something like that, maybe even sooner. So I feel like if you gave up those 3, you could definitely move up and go get one of those guys. That would definitely improve the offense if you miss out.
Yeah, you would have. The whole thing is about if you want to trade back into the first round, especially in our situation, so we would have to give up a lot of picks. I would feel because we want. I mean, I have a feeling we would want to trade pretty high up, maybe mid-10s.
I mean, I don't know. Oh, well, mid-10s I feel could be impossible unless they want to give up another first.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm thinking 26, 27, because some of these guys didn't have the best combine, so their stocks should drop. So, let's say you give a 2nd, 1 of the 3rds, and both 4ths. I feel like a team could say yes to that.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's not that far off, so I feel like if you really missed out on some of these guys, that's a safe option as well. Yeah, so I think that could be a good option. Or just maybe waiting till that 2nd round pick comes. Because I definitely feel like guys are going to fall to that pick.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be studs at receiver during the 2nd round. Because a lot of those first round teams their number one need is not a wide receiver.
Yeah, that is another thing. I do feel like we've had a lot of very heavy wide receiver classes the last 2 years, and it's even going to get even better next year with Marvin coming in, and he actually has a good class behind him, that they might say, we're not going to take a wide receiver here when we really don't need it, because this is also a big wide receiver free agency class.
Yeah.
So some of these teams that like need bigger needs than a wide receiver, that need a quarterback or a corner, those are two big positions in this year's draft. A good wide receiver might fall like that, like the Quentin Johnson or like the Smith and Jigba. They might fall. That's where Barry needs to say, all right, we got to go get one of those.
Yeah, and even looking at free agency, like there are so many big names in free agency where they can just go back and say, well, all right, we might have a better chance of getting someone in free agency than having to sit around for a whole day at the draft and watching these teams take guys that we want.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think it's a possibility that we trade back in. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's just, do you want to be safe with these picks?
Yeah.
And take, let's say, I think a fourth round pick I kind of count it as like a day 2 pick, even though it's not. Because after the 4th round, it kind of drops off. But I'd say you have 5 good picks right there that you could really trade up if needed. So I think they have no worries at wide receiver because they'll end up getting someone. My biggest worries are just the defensive side, that they have to go attack free agency and get them.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a big, almost like a 180 of the whole defense here.
Yeah, I think the window is closing quick.
Yeah.
A lot of teams are getting better, and you're only going to have only under 5 years, not even, maybe under 3.
Yeah, especially for us, we were supposed to be good for all these years, and we couldn't produce.
So I'm saying maybe they're gonna give it probably 2 more years, and if something's not working out, you're gonna see some changes when you get this first round pick back. So I think we're gonna have 2 more years of nothing that worries us, like no rebuild. But after this first round picks, like we get our first round pick back, you might see a Garrett have asked out. Like that's my worry, is you don't start winning, Myles Garrett has to be traded out.
Yeah, you're gonna
lose a lot of players after that.
Yeah, these Pro Bowlers, they're all gonna want to leave because you haven't produced in the 5-year contract or whatever. And it's, I get it, they're trying to build a defense around him, but he's also got to be able to work with the coordinators and coaches and have them tell him what he should be doing to get the defense better. So, all right, I said everything I need to say. Do you have anything else you want to say, or? I think that's it. I think we're good. Guys, free agency starts Monday. Hopefully, we'll make another one when we get some new free agents that are going to help this team a lot. Thanks for watching. See you later.